Okay, so today I'm going to talk about language a little bit. Language. Okay, one of the 3 ways that people keep a people down, the easiest is denying them food, water, correct clothing, and keeping them illiterate. Language is very important. Not just learning language to speak it, but learning it to write it and read it. How do we learn anything? We write, we read, we take classes, we learn from other people. I was looking up, trying to look up the root word of cult, since it seems to be so prevalent today in many places, or cult-like behavior, symbolism, training, seminars, beliefs. There's a book I was looking at the other day called Cultish. I would recommend that anybody actually read it. It described, I didn't read that much of it, and it described things that I've seen in person. There is, I think I talked a bit about gangs, clubs, places like that, and why a person seeks out places like that, people like that, protection, safety, a sense of belonging, and usually some way to get out of whatever they're in, whether that's socioeconomic or their family or their location. Those are probably among the 3 top ones why people get involved with different places. And that does not mean it needs to be a gang. It could be a group. You could look at some religious or spiritual or faith-based ones that wouldn't be seen as cults necessarily. They're extremists, organizations. Al-Qaeda's one. The military has been compared to some cultish type belief structure or training. One of the founding, no, I don't personally believe that. One of the founding things is changing your identity. It's kind of erasing who you are and making you who they want you to be. Even if it's just adding their own principles or rules or laws. And sometimes it's even changing your name. It's changing, I call them primary operating systems. So one of mine is helping people. Another one would be kindness. So another one would be independence. That one was pretty much, they tried to strip that from me completely. Forming a sort of dependency upon the organization or place or people that are organizing these types of things is pretty critical. You're always go to them for answers. Sometimes there's repetitive phrase or repeating things, repetitive phrases or keywords. Enlightenment has been a really big one. Mind expansion, empowerment. They're taking words that mean certain things in the dictionary and to certain people and kind of going way out there with it. There are so many people longing today for belonging, for acceptance, for understanding, for care, really what it comes down to. And you're kind of, if you've seen Star Trek, the movie with the Borg, they kind of assimilate people into their greater consciousness, but you also kind of become theirs. Really good analogy someone just kind of pushed out. There's so many who we've kind of, I'm getting away from the word broken, to oarless. Okay, it's like being in a small boat by yourself with no oars and no real direction. Things can happen to you, whether they're traumatic or not, or stuff happens around you or to your culture or community, and all of a sudden what you had for oars are just kind of gone. And that's an opportunity for different peoples and places and organizations and, you know, whoever, even a partner, to kind of move in and start taking charge. Yes, they can provide that acceptance. Yes, they can provide some understanding. Actual love is rare, as a person should be loved and accepted and understood for themselves and not who you can make them be, not how you can change them, even if it's seen as lifting them up or guiding them. I love the word guide. That is not guidance. It's a type of force, even if it doesn't seem like it. Often they take you away from your supports, people who know you. There's over 100,000 worldwide who are being used because they have trust fund accounts. At least 60% of them don't even know they have a trust fund account from their relatives. It's manipulation, it's lies, it's deception. And yes, the people in charge can strongly believe in these principles, in their, dream or belief of basically kind of a delusion that everybody should follow this way. You will know more this way. You will feel better this way. We can make you better. When healing, Healing, and wholeness, WHOLENESS, really stems from inside. It stems from you. It is not some outside driving force that changes you. I have said over and over again, no person is an island. That's been said for a long time. No, we're not. We need other people. It does not mean that everyone you meet is one of those people. There are a lot of people who are unhealthy in our lives. And maybe we're not the healthiest. So it just means that if you're out there seeking love, acceptance, care, understanding, all those things, companionship, hugs, maybe you didn't get it in your family, maybe you didn't get it from your community, maybe you didn't get it from your government or country or your culture. That does not mean that you are unworthy. That does not mean you're unlovable. It does not mean that you're completely understandable, terminally unique. It just means that you might not have met someone who shares the similarities that are kind of most important to you as far as like characteristics or values, originality, be authentic. That was a good one. It was a big one, but they started using it as be like our authentic selves, not your authentic self. That means that there are individuals and groups and people out there who know how to help. Know how to help you help you. Know that mostly we know ourselves best. We've been with ourselves our whole life. I went through a joke, I started years ago about, what do I have to go through to divorce myself? Or parts of myself. Because sometimes I annoy myself. The part of me that, and kind of everybody I think, and I don't like using all or nothing thinking, no never, no always. It's always falling somewhere in the middle. But there's usually one or two things that are just like, if I could just not blank, like I think I would be happier. I would like myself more. We all have that itty bitty crappy committee in our head. We all have something that I learned about called free rent. And that would be people, places, things, and words, sayings, or beliefs that kind of got drilled into us at some point in our life that we retain long after those people, places, or things, or words are out of our life. We don't need them anymore. We've got it in our head. Well, that was stupid. You're never going to amount to anything. You're a failure. I don't like you. There's tons of things. Don't ever let anyone else define you or define yourself in a way that is not only unhealthy but unproductive. Unproductive means whatever you're using that's negative or unhealthy to define you or challenge you, keeps you stuck or keeps you in a spot where you do self-sabotage, where you think you don't deserve the success that you achieved, where you don't remember successes that you achieved, where you flat out deny who you are, says someone else. It's repeating all of those old messages that we got, and some of them we got from around birth. So please don't let people's have free rent in your head. I'm all like, we have enough problems with our own negative thoughts. I don't need someone who might be even dead still speaking to me saying bad things about me or what I do or what I choose. And neither do you. I'm all like, please surround yourself with people who are genuinely supportive. People who do not criticize you all the time. Don't cut you down. Don't make jokes about you. Don't judge you for your looks. Don't judge you for what you wear. Or who you like. Regardless of anything. Regardless of social standing. Of socioeconomic status. Of their size. Of their looks. Maybe this person is a great person in their life, but you are more concerned about the way things look. My household was like dependent upon appearances. It was dependent upon the fact that I disguised and hid the abuse that lay there. So, and, it was reinforced by a social worker and by community members, by family members, that it was acceptable for that abuse to be happening to me, and there was nothing they could do. Or that I should be thankful or grateful for what I had when they didn't have the full story, and if they did, they didn't care. So, pay attention to language, okay? There are 2 principles in the Buddhist, 8, that really kind of don't fit, and more fit with, I think, a government or regime that came in and kind of added those in there to keep them more subjugated. One involves misery, and the other one maybe was about being poor or something. I read it a long time ago. I was somewhere in Brownsville, Texas, at an awesome recovery thing, and I'm reading something and it's talking about being happy about being persecuted or something like that, and And I'm just like, okay, no, this doesn't sound right. They had two in there that were really questionable, and I'm just like, I wonder who wrote those. Subliminal conditioning is a problem. It's words and imagery, phrases, and imagery includes pictures, can include video that is superimposed upon what you're looking at. Like even my device right now could have something. What you're watching through what I put up could have something. It can also have wording or music or chanting or different things interlayered in the sound. So you'd be hearing me speak, but you'll hear other things like, she's a liar. This is not really who it is. Don't believe her. And although you're hearing me here, your subconscious is also hearing those things, which would contradict what I'm saying, what your heart is feeling, what your mind might be thinking. I told people, please keep some journals about what you're watching, whether it's on TV or a device. When you turn on your music, why is most of FM, AM radio kind of gone? They're using that station or those signals or frequencies for something, and I want the talk radio back, and I want it new and different. I want kids to be on it. I want youth to have stations. I want some of that stuff that we've got on, what is it, like Amazon, like the recordings of stuff, to be on there. I want people to have shows. I'm all like, I want to hear real voices about real life. And I think a lot of other people do, too. I'm all like, what happened? What's happening? Please start paying attention to your surroundings. About wording, about things that you're signing. So I was looking up the root of cult in Latin, and Latin was kind of over 6,000 years ago. No, Latin was over 5,400 years old. And Latin was, we're finding like, about 40 to 50% related to original, like Aramaic. Like they had language first, developed it first, or it might have been around the same time, but we got it sparked by them. Latin has given birth. Even the basis of Italian is Latin. The basis of many languages is, and then there's Pig Latin. Now, pig was also seen as swine or an insult. Pig Latin, I think, was maybe formed due to poor peoples or uneducated peoples. There's a 76% difference or so from original Latin, and I do mean original Latin. So, origination, designation or assignation or delineation from the original. Pig was a slang word or term for infidel, still is, and or rebel. It's amazing when you look at words that infidel relates to rebel and rebel relates to infidel. Not so much on the reverse, but yeah. Depending on the language, region, locale, peoples, leadership, etc. I've been trying to tell people to tell law enforcement who have a problem with being called a pig to hit them back with swine. If I'm a pig, you're swine. I'd rather be a squiggle tail. And if that means that I'm seen as an infidel and a rebel, well then I guess I am a pig. The loyal and royal pig. Try to take the sting out of that word. Try to take the hate out of that word. Try to take mismeanings, misinterpretations, misunderstandings, and why the person's saying that anyways. You know, my 90-10 rule. 90% is them, maybe 10% is you. Maybe their family had bad dealings with police. Maybe it's not visible what you're doing in the community. Maybe you had some green lines in your PD. Maybe. I'm all like, that doesn't mean it really has anything to do with you. You're just a target in front of them. No, I have never called an officer out of their name. I once, when someone was walking away from me, told them to use a phrase from G.I. Jane that she used on the Master Chief, which is a favorite of mine. But other than that, I was in Martinsburg, the same place where I got squirt with piss and shit and everything, on King Street in Winchester by a driving-by car. And this cop, what was it, Officer 23, came up and started just harassing me and asking for my ID, saying I couldn't sit there. I'm sitting there drinking horchata or Coke or something, and I guess he has a problem with it. I have no idea what bug flew up his butt, but he wanted my identification. And it was just like, really? What do you want it for? I haven't done anything. Demanded it and everything else. And I'm just like, I haven't got it. Or did I say it was in my underwear? I can't remember. Because I might have said that. Because he was being such a jerk. You don't have to have attitude with me. I don't know you. You don't know me. Just because you and your girlfriend are having problems is not my fault. 90%'s them, maybe 10%'s you. I always tell people, please, I don't care your relationship with them. I don't care your history. But please, remember your location in life. I don't care if your mom is a senator. You don't have a right to threaten someone's livelihood or their job, which is their livelihood, because you're going to get a speeding ticket or because they're going to arrest you with a legal warrant or search your belongings. I don't care if you're a president's child. Law enforcement is given a job. They have to execute it. So please think before you speak and address them as officer or sir and say thank you. Even if they're a jerk, don't do what I did. Most of the time I'm just fine, but sometimes, it just irks me. I also say, please remember yourself in a courtroom. That is a judge. Your honor or judge, whatever their name is, or just judge. I'm all like, who has the power here? Well, in most situations, the officer does. The judge does. That means please don't act unintelligent. Please address someone in a respectful tone, because you know who's going to pay if you don't. You are. That does not really project any sort of smarts. That projects, I'm letting my day, my anger, my whatever, my relative getting shot, anything, override my own intelligence and my own inner self going, this probably isn't the smartest to tell him to F off, and, please don't let your inner teenager rule your life, because it's not really smart. Please be aware that you should look up brainwashing techniques, cult techniques, things like that. It can even be in a personal empowerment seminar, and I'm not saying that the orchestrator knows it. I'm all like, but whoever is like way up here and comes up with these things and kind of distributes them starts kind of assimilating people. They get your email, they get your address, something starts coming in the mail, they get you to buy something. There's all these different things. So please be aware. Be aware of your surroundings. Be aware of people making comments that might all of a sudden have you going, wait a minute, do I know you? Because chances are you don't, but they just said something that betrayed that they know something about you that they should not. Not unless they've been cyber stalking you or have information that they probably shouldn't have access to. Please don't just write that off. Please don't just go, well, I'm sure I misheard, or I'm sure that they found that out from someone I know, or no. Different types of stalking and human trafficking are at an all-time high in our society, all the way from the famous all the way down to nobody's like me. I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but it's not real healthy. So please be safe out there. Thank you.